Sam Bankman-Fried. Sam Bankman-Fried, also known as SBF, was born in California and studied physics at MIT. He was known for being quiet, brilliant, and a little awkward. After a short stint at a trading firm, he founded Alameda Research, a crypto hedge fund. Soon after, he launched FTX in 2019, a cryptocurrency exchange that quickly became one of the biggest in the world. He marketed himself as an altruist who didn't care about wealth, often showing up to interviews in wrinkled t-shirts and gym shorts. That humble math nerd image made investors feel safe. FTX was seen as a reliable platform in a space full of scams. Despite his public image of modesty and altruism, behind the scenes SBF was living like a king. FTX was headquartered in a $40 million penthouse in the Bahamas, where SBF and other executives lived together. He funded political campaigns across both U.S. parties, becoming one of the top political donors in the country. He poured millions into media outlets, universities, and crypto lobbying groups, all while claiming it was for the greater good. But many of those investments also bought him influence, access, and goodwill from powerful people who didn't ask too many questions. But behind the scenes, FTX was funneling billions in customer deposits into Alameda Research to cover losses and make risky bets. The two companies were supposed to be separate. They weren't. In November 2022, a leaked balance sheet triggered panic. Within days, users tried to pull their funds, but there wasn't enough money to go around. The empire crumbled. SBF was arrested in the Bahamas, extradited, and convicted of fraud. He had gone from crypto's golden boy to one of the biggest financial criminals of the decade, all before age 32. Do Kwon. Born in South Korea, Do Kwon studied computer science at Stanford. After working briefly in Silicon Valley, he returned to Asia to start Terraform Labs. His big idea was Terra, a blockchain ecosystem built around two tokens, Luna and UST, an algorithmic stablecoin. Instead of backing the stablecoin with real dollars, it used a balancing system between Luna and UST to maintain a dollar value. Do Kwon pitched it as the future of money, decentralized, fast, and free from traditional banks. Big names in crypto believed him. At its peak, Terra was worth more than $40 billion. Do Kwon wasn't just a founder, he was a personality. On Twitter, he built a reputation for being cocky and aggressive. He mocked critics who questioned Terra's stability, telling them to stay poor or have fun staying poor. He treated warnings as jokes and portrayed himself as the smartest person in the room. Many people admired his confidence. But his stablecoin had a fatal flaw. When pressure mounted in May 2022 and large holders began dumping UST, the algorithm couldn't keep up. UST lost its peg. To try to fix it, the system flooded the market with new Luna, destroying its value. In just days, both coins collapsed. Investors lost everything. Kwon fled. He taunted critics online, even as he disappeared from public view. Months later, he was arrested in Montenegro with a fake passport. He was then extradited to the U.S., where his trial is currently ongoing. His collapse wasn't just a coding error. It was arrogance, scale, and denial wrapped in blockchain. Jusoo and Kyle Davies, old college friends from Columbia University. Jusoo and Kyle Davies started their careers in traditional finance before jumping into crypto. They founded Three Arrows Capital, a crypto hedge fund that became known for making huge, bold bets. They were active on Twitter, presenting themselves as deep thinkers who truly understood the future of money. Their fund managed billions and invested in nearly every major crypto trend: Grayscale, Ethereum, Avalanche, and Luna. The Luna crash hit them hard. They had borrowed massive amounts to amplify their bets. When Luna collapsed, so did their portfolio. They defaulted on over $3.5 billion in loans. Creditors couldn't reach them. They ghosted everyone: employees, partners, and investors. 3AC filed for bankruptcy in July 2022. Meanwhile, Ju and Davies resurfaced in Southeast Asia, launching a new exchange called OPNX, designed to let people trade crypto bankruptcy claims, including the ones they helped create. Their fall wasn't just financial. It was a lesson in how easily big talk and borrowed money can go wrong. At the height of their wealth, Ju and Davies purchased a luxury super yacht named Much Wow, a cheeky nod to Dogecoin. The yacht was to be built for approximately $150 million. They never completed the transaction, and when 3AC collapsed, the incomplete yacht was abandoned in an Italian shipyard. Liquidators have since filed a claim for about $30 million related to that yacht. Mashinsky. Mashinsky was a seasoned entrepreneur before crypto. He claimed to have played a role in inventing voice over IP, VoIP, and had founded several startups in tech and telecom. When he entered crypto, he brought that same confidence to Celsius, a crypto lending platform that promised high yields with little risk. His message was clear: traditional banks were broken, and Celsius was here to fix it. He hosted weekly AMAs, Ask Me Anything, where he reassured customers and mocked skeptics. Mashinsky had a massive ego. He claimed he was the reason voice calls became free, and once said he came up with the idea for Twitter. He just never got around to building it. Celsius was going to be his claim to fame. Celsius took in billions in user deposits and promised returns of up to 18%. But the company was making dangerous bets behind the scenes. When crypto markets tumbled in 2022, Celsius froze withdrawals. A bankruptcy filing followed, revealing a $1.2 billion hole. Documents later showed Mashinsky had withdrawn millions just before the collapse. In 2023, he was arrested and charged with multiple counts of fraud and market manipulation. His fall was shocking, not just because of the money, but because of how personal he made his promises. He built trust, then broke it. Marc Karpelès. A French software developer, Marc Karpelès became CEO of Mt. Gox in 2011 when he bought the crypto exchange from its original creator. Mt. Gox had started as a trading platform for Magic the Gathering cards, but had shifted into a full-on Bitcoin exchange. Under Karpelès, it grew fast, becoming the world's largest Bitcoin platform. But it was run more like a side project than a financial institution. Security was weak. Internal controls were worse. Karpelès was a bit of an eccentric. He lived above the Mt. Gox office in Tokyo and reportedly slept on a couch during late coding sessions. He was obsessed with cats and pastries, and users sometimes joked that Mt. Gox was being run by a distracted nerd rather than a CEO. He blogged openly about technical issues and once posted a pancake recipe to Reddit. In hindsight, his casual demeanor stood in stark contrast to the billions of dollars he was responsible for. In 2014, the site went dark. It had been hacked, not once, but multiple times. And 850,000 bitcoins were gone. Thousands of users lost access to their money. Karpelès was arrested in Japan, where he lived, and charged with falsifying financial data. He was eventually acquitted of embezzlement, but found guilty of manipulating records. Gerald Cotten. Cotten was a Canadian entrepreneur who co-founded Quadriga CX in 2013. In a time when most crypto exchanges were clunky and unreliable, Quadriga seemed smoother. Cotten, soft-spoken and camera-shy, became the sole person managing the exchange. There was no board, no oversight, just him. As the exchange grew, users deposited hundreds of millions worth of crypto onto the platform. Then, in 2018, Cotten died suddenly while on his honeymoon in India. He was 30 years old. Cotten presented himself as a boy genius banker, often attending meetups in a suit and tie while others showed up in hoodies. He and his wife lived a seemingly modest life in Nova Scotia, but behind the scenes, they owned luxury properties, yachts, and even private planes through shell companies. His death was so sudden and so poorly documented that it triggered international conspiracy theories. The fact that he signed a will 2 weeks before his death only added fuel to the fire. After his death, it emerged that Cotten was the only person with access to the company's cold wallets, and nearly $190 million in customer funds were missing. Investigators discovered Cotten had been using those funds to trade, gamble, and cover withdrawals. Quadriga was a Ponzi scheme wrapped in a tech startup. The case raised endless questions. Some believed Cotten had faked his death and fled. Others blamed poor regulation. Either way, thousands of people lost everything, and the man who ran it all was gone.